The stock Demo Man is joked about always having two primaries. Both his rolling grenades that also reward direct hits, and his ever-versatile sticky bomb launcher provide Demo with some of the best damage in the game. The grenade launcher is hard to aim, and used to just finish off a sentry nest sometimes. His widely accepted true primary is always ready to assist in a fight or set a villainous sticky trap, and everyone knows that melee weapon hit reg in TF2 can be sus at best. So what kind of madman tosses away objectively one of the strongest weapons in TF2 that is known for providing one of the most unique game mechanics in any team-based shooter since 2007? Sticking to the harder to aim grenade launcher and ever janky melee hit reg of TF2 sounds like a worse experience than keeping 8 stickies on hand. Maybe even a detriment to you. But let this madman show you just how good it feels to play Hybrid Knight.
Oh no.
But what is Hybrid Knight, I hear you asking? Isn't it just stock Demo Man but worse? Good guess, but actually no. You're dropping the hard-hitting sticky bomb launcher and attaching a shield to your arm. That's it. See you guys next time. That's the end. Equipping one of the 3 Demo Man shields lets you use his personal and unique charge ability. With this, your mouse 2 or alt fire button launches you forward in an almost straight line with incredible speed, giving you a shield bash and empowering your next melee attack. The melee attack usually does more damage the more you deplete your meter, usually meaning the further you charge and swing, the more damage you'll do. Flail into someone when it's still near full and green, and you do no bonus damage. Swing while it's about halfway through in the yellow, and you'll get a wee little mini crit. But if you land a hit when your charge meter is right in the red sweet spot, you get a guaranteed critical hit. Now let's talk about shield equips for Hybrid Knight. The Charge and Targe is probably the first shield you'll be getting, since it's the reward for getting 5 Demo Man achievements. This shield provides you the most resistances, allowing Demo Man to become a tank against fire and even explosive damage. Pesky pyros will be mashing their mouse 1 trying to chew through your wooden shield. But you've got to remember, it doesn't make you invincible. It's just giving you a larger effective health pool to play with when against pyros, soldiers, and other demos. The Charge and Targe is great at helping you focus on using your pipes and enhanced melee powers while keeping yourself locked out of relying on your sticky bomb launcher. The Splendid Screen is the shield you equip when you want to focus on hitting harder charges and melee swings. It doesn't offer as large of a cushion of damage resistance as the Charge and Targe, but it still leaves you some breathing room to launch towards an enemy and take less fire and explosive damage nonetheless. It also has an accelerated refill rate on the charge meter, allowing you to play more aggressive or even escape danger that much more often. And last and certainly not least is the Tide Turner. This is what keeps the flashy playstyle of Hybrid Knight exciting and fresh to both other players and myself. The damage resistance and powerful guaranteed full crit at the end of a charge is lost, but you gain the ability to completely control the direction and turn of your demo charge. It's the easiest to trimp with, the powerful movement tech and rollout enabler no other class has access to. The charge has so much more value when the versatility of the charge is shown through this shield. The greater maneuverability makes it a much more reliable escape plan, repositioning tool, and of course, chase tool for your target around corners and obstructions of the map. Demo Man has some great melee options that pair well with the shield, but even his trusty bottle works well. Swapping it out for the ham or pan doesn't change much. I mean, Demo Pan and Demo Ham are memes for a reason. But if you really want to embrace the knight part of Hybrid Knight, we've got to switch it up. The sword that deceptively does the same amount of damage as the stock bottle, the Eyelander, is one unlock that exemplifies the strength and power of Demo Knight. Very rarely do I ever get more than a couple heads with it on Uncle Topia, but the speed and health from collecting your enemies' heads are invaluable. If you can soften up your target with pipes, you can quickly scoop up the heads on the battlefield. Just remember to use the extended melee range to your advantage when this thing is out. Now the Pain Train is seriously just a utility tool when capping the objective, so I wouldn't recommend it as a powerful candidate, but it's still useful for charging right onto a point or an objective and experiencing Pain Train gaming. The Casual King's Weapon. The Scotsman Skullcutter is a slow-moving, harder-hitting battle axe, and that applies to your charge speed and damage respectively. It isn't the most useful for Hybrid Knight because you want to use your movement against your opponent, but a quick glance of this melee weapon should scare any light classes because this thing cuts them down faster than any other empowered sword after a charge. Once a powerful combat tool used for deleting enemies with one swing, the Caber is now simply a meme equip. It's only really consistently hard hitting if charging with a Splendid Screen, but other than that, you get punished for already blowing up someone with the one-time use explosive grenade on the end. It is not useless, but without regaining explosive from ammo packs or a dispenser, this thing can be hard to play with. I wouldn't suggest this to a new Hybrid Knight unless you're completely aware that charging with this thing may be a one-way trip. My personal favorite sword is the Claymore. The far-reaching sword with the extended charge duration can net Demo Man even more out of reach opponents when charging with this out. When paired with the Tide Turner, each sword kill guarantees a fully refilled charge meter. And with the Splendid Screen, the charge will come back so fast you won't even notice it was gone. This sword can make for a fluid switch between grenade launcher and melee combat with its charger filling mechanic, so it's best to utilize that whenever you see a chance opening. Now the last two, the Persian Persuader and the Have Zatoichi, are swords more suited for full Demo Knight play, the Persuader most of all. That's not to say they can't work with Hybrid Knight, but if you want to utilize both the grenade launchers and charge mechanic of the subclass, the other equips mentioned are far more forgiving. Contrary to popular belief, this subclass is unique to Demo Knight because you still have the ever-powerful grenade launcher to blow your opponents to bits. Being consistent with the stock grenade launcher is not the easiest thing in TF2 because of the unique projectile arc and how it is affected by your movement. Being able to predict even the most basic response from an opponent will require you to watch and play against them for hours. But the satisfying and burst of 100 damage for perfectly landing a pipe on someone makes it almost unmatched in overall satisfaction. You only have 4 grenades in a fight, so you have to make each one count, but just softening up someone with one may leave them low enough for a quick kill with your preferred melee after a short charge. Keeping yourself in the mid-range where Demo can put out damage from a safe distance, but still react in time to enemy movement is something to always be aware of. You want to lead your aim ahead of your target and be mindful of travel time for the grenade no matter which grenade launcher you're using. And always be cautious of scouts who have a blank A and D key on their keyboards. I can't stress how hard movement is in Team Fortress 2 and how hard you may be punished for not being aware of it. But don't forget, because you're playing Hybrid Knight, you can always charge away to a better position even while firing grenades out. Putting yourself into an even riskier state of play though is the lock and load. The lock and load will train your flicks fast if you're not prone to rage quitting. Every shot is a coin toss. Either you hit or you don't. As the higher projectile speed can lead to more reliable kills at a slightly farther and contrarily more up close range, it can also throw off your timings when switching back to other primaries. I'd recommend you keep this triple pipe bad boy on your shelf until you really need to take care of an annoying engineer's nest, because that's where it really shines. We've all experienced the sweet meme cannon that just launches your dopamine receptors beyond what any other weapon brings to the table. Just listen to it. When I'm using this thing, I can close out the Subway Surfers ASMR Family Guy Clips tabs and just focus on getting more double donks. The faster cannonball on the loose cannon will make it easier to gauge travel time, but if you practice your timing and let its fuse burn just a bit, you get rewarded with the sweet release of a double donk. If the overpowering sound of the loose cannon isn't enticing enough, the 131 damage on the double donk should. It supersedes the role of a sticky bomb launcher by making sure you're rewarded for staying in the mid-range of Demo, but it also has the unfortunate downside of suffering when fighting close enough for melee. But that's what you're playing Hybrid Knight for. Where your primary has a weakness up close, your melee can make up for that weakness. And loose cannon jumping may not seem useful, but when paired with Demo's charge, it can be the start to a rollout or a trimp to get you in a better position. And now arguably the easiest and most powerful grenade launcher, the Iron Bomber. Pre-bug fix, I never picked this up because it felt cheating to use, but post-nerf, it honestly feels just as powerful. The lower splash radius is only an afterthought if you're focusing down one person at a time, but the removal of rollers actually makes this a far more powerful tool. If your first shot lands its mark and the second lands right under your opponent, or more commonly, they walk right over it, the Iron Bomber is the grenade launcher to use. I can only imagine how many people have PTSD from people abusing the broken hitbox, because in its current form, I find it to be miles ahead of the rest if you're starting out as Demo Man in general. My only advice to you is to never resort to shooting down at your opponent's feet in close range, because at that point, you're playing soldier with extra steps. Let's acknowledge Hybrid Knight's weaknesses though. 4 or 3 with the lock and load, pipes may not be enough to take down one player if you don't land every shot, and no one is perfect, so don't feel bad. A pyro who knows what's something other than mouse 1 can easily air blast you or your pipes back, leaving you defenseless and defeated. Learning to watch and wait for when they've just used their air blast so that you can sneak a pipe right between the cooldown window of another air blast is an important timing to learn for this matchup, but you can always just keep your distance from them so you're never close enough to worry about their flames. Remember to never charge a pyro either, unless you are sure they're not going to hit the air blast on you. Just an overall tip for Hybrid Knight, never charge a choke point if your team isn't already holding it, or else you're bound to find yourself in some terrible situations. Rollers aren't just something to randomly get kills with though. If you've ever used stickies to clear a corner with pre-fire, you'll know just getting a hit sound is information enough to act and think on. Lobbing a grenade or cannonball around a corner or into a door frame can force an opponent to move or let out a noise, allowing for you to know whether or not it's safe to peek. It's important to know how your grenade launcher will roll or not to deny an area for your opponent's movement both in chokes and in an open area. The Iron Bomber excels at denying area with an unmoving certainty, and I encourage you to hit right around a door frame to check for your opponents. In an open area, it still behaves like a sticky with a short timer you can't control. Hybrid Knight is something that requires practicing and map knowledge to excel with, but the beauty of Team Fortress 2 is that even the goofiest playstyle can find success. By embracing the Hybrid Knight, you enter a playstyle where every pipe, charge, and sword swing can turn the tide of a team fight. It's a playstyle that rewards and pushes any advantages taken slowly throughout the match. So if you want to play TF2 in a new and exciting way, I encourage you to try Hybrid Knight. Just a quick thanks to everyone who made it this far. I've been really busy lately, and I'll try to get back to making videos more often.